Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2022 Rivian R1S. So production of this started in 2022, and this is basically the SUV variant of the R1. We've already looked at the R1T, which was the pickup truck version of this car. And yeah, the R1 is basically the platform upon which this S and the T version are based on. It's basically a skateboard platform, so all of the batteries, drivetrain, wheels and the like are pretty much all the same. It's just that you can add a body on top of that skateboard platform. So yeah, but this does share quite a lot of its components with the R1T. 91% of its components in fact are similar or the same. Yeah, this is in large parts basically that car, just with a few different design additions or removals. But it does still have the likes of a frunk, which is always a good thing about an EV, especially the ones that actually have them. It's very rare that you don't get them anymore. And yeah, the interior in terms of the front and the second row is pretty much the same as the R1T, so it's all very nicely done. Got your typical kind of screens and the like, and yeah, nice accompaniments of wood and other materials. So yeah, all very nicely done inside. Where this is different is in terms of the fact that you can get you have to have a third row of seats, as you can see. So you can fit 7 people in this car, which yeah, is obviously a big bonus over the R1T where you can only fit 5. And yeah, even though the boot isn't going to be anywhere near as big as the pickup bed on the R1T, it's still a decent size, and you can, I believe, put those rear seats down or remove them. So yeah, you can increase the rear cargo space a little bit more. And I do still like the fact it's got the tail bed that you can sit on or use as a platform yourself. So yeah, it's not completely devoid of practicality, but yeah, it definitely has a little bit less of it than the R1T. Also doesn't have the gear tunnel that ran between the interior and the pickup bed, so again, a little bit less room in that regard. But overall, it's still a very spacious 7-seater SUV, which yeah, is definitely more so than say a BMW iX, which can only accompany 5, and yeah, definitely doesn't seem to have anywhere near as much room as this does. And it's still got the same drivetrain as the R1T, so you've still got 835 horsepower and 908 pounds-feet of torque from your 4 electric motors, 1 for each wheel, and yeah, which are powered by 135 kilowatt-hour of batteries. So yeah, fairly good in that regard. Apparently this does weigh less than the R1T at 6,892 pounds, but I've only ever seen this weigh less in this game, not in real life. So yeah, apparently this does weigh a little bit more in real life. Not sure why they've underweighed it in this game, but yeah, that's just the way it is sometimes. And I have heard complaints in real life as well that the rear room for the passengers is not great, and the panoramic roof, which we'll take a look at now, apparently doesn't have a shader on the back or something like that. I can't quite see what's being talked about in that regard. I think it's the glass bit at the rear with the third row of seats that doesn't apparently have a shader, but I can't confirm that completely because it doesn't look like there is just glass there. It does look like it has been shaded somewhat. So yeah, they're the 2 big main complaints I've heard of this car, but not heard of any other complaints regarding anything else about it. And in terms of off-road capability and drivability, it does seem to be as good as the R1T. So yeah, but nonetheless, let's get out to the open road and see what this car can do. Right, here we are at the drag strip, but like the R1T, this does not have the highest of top speed, so yeah, we're not going to really get all that fast on this drag strip, but nonetheless, let's see what it can do, and then we'll hit the little bit of an off-road course that I have on this game that I like to use, and then we'll go around the track. So yeah, like I said, not the fastest of cars at the top end, but it is really quick at getting there regardless, as you can see, which for yeah, a nearly £7,000 car is mightily impressive. So yeah, as you would have guessed now, 122 mph is its top speed, which is 5 mph slower than the R1T. Not sure why. Maybe it's the extra bulk, or which isn't being taken into account in the game, but could easily be taken into account by the physics, or the aerodynamics aren't quite as good. or something. I'm not sure why, but yeah, it is slightly down on top speed. But handling wise, it is reasonably good. I'm not showing it off here because I have not driven much of this car, so I'm just getting used to it. But yeah, it is virtually the same as the R1T in that it's got a decent amount of grip, and yeah, definitely powers out of corners nicely because of all the power it's got. But yeah, it's by no means the most agile of EVs going. But as I have shown in racing, the R1T was actually fairly competitive as a racing car, so yeah, hopefully that's the case for this vehicle, because I would like that to be the case. But yeah, who knows really. Could be either way in that regard, but still, as you can see in terms of off-road capability, it's yeah, as good as the R1T is. It's just that, you know, you can carry more people to do this kind of thing with, so yeah, if you have a big family or a lot of friends that you typically go out with in a car, then this is going to be right up your alley, because you're going to be able to carry at least 6 other people with you. And yeah, still have a decent amount of cargo capability as well. But yeah, it's not the like I said, the most agile of EVs, and it does take a little bit of getting used to with all the weight and the like. But yeah, let's get to the track and see what it can do on there, which it should be pretty good at. This does seem to perform a little bit better in the dry than in the wet. I guess that's the case for a lot of vehicles. Not sure if the tyres are 100% the same as the R1T, because they did look more off-road orientated, whereas these look a bit more on-road orientated, to be honest. That might have been while we were slipping around a bit. Brake into the track. Let's see where we're going to be. So in terms of rivals, we're high end, well, more low end actually, are A class. So yeah, as you can see, we have slightly more PI, because it does weigh, as you can see, slightly less than the R1T, only by about 44 pounds, but yeah, it does weigh less regardless. So yeah, but not sure why, because like I said, it does have more in the way of bodywork than the R1T. It does obviously have those extra seats as well, so it shouldn't technically be better in terms of weight, but apparently it is, and therefore acceleration is also being graded as more. But as you'll see when I talk about the times of the acceleration, it isn't actually any better than the R1T. So again, the stats on this game are a little bit iffy at times. They're not to be taken completely at face value. You do have to, at the end of the day, look at the numbers at times. But still, let's hear what this car sounds like, and then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, of all the electric cars in this game, this does seem a little bit derivative, given we have the R1T already. But still, as far as EVs do go, it's a pretty sharpish one in a straight line. 0 to 60 is dealt with in 3.3 seconds, and 0 to 100 is dealt with in 9.020 seconds. And as you've already seen, it can do 122 mph at the top end. Now, acceleration wise, the 0 to 60 time is exactly the same as the R1T, and it's slightly slower to 100 for whatever reasons, by 0.02 of a second. So not quite sure why again on that front, but still, it's a pretty sharpish car at the end of the day, regardless of the time, because yeah, we need to take into consideration the amount of weight this car has and how large it is. The fact it's as quick as it is in terms of straight line speed or acceleration is quite remarkable, and the fact that it's able to handle the kind of speed that you can put into it is also pretty good. Though it's not the most agile of EVs, the BMW i4 for instance is far more agile and far better handling of a car, but that does weigh a good 2,000 or so pounds less than we do. So yeah, that's why. But yeah, like I said, still not the most agile of vehicles, and you do have to be mindful of the amount of weight that you got going on with this car, especially when it comes down to slowing it down, as yeah, the amount of momentum that you got going behind this car is quite immense. Even I'm not perfect at driving it, as you can see. I've slightly clipped the rear left there, so that's why it's slightly broken, but yeah, overall it's still a nice enough car to have in this game. It doesn't mean we just have more EVs, which is never a bad thing as far as I'm concerned, because I am a fan of driving them. And as you will see in I might well do a future video on the i4 in a racing scenario, because it is a properly good car in that regard. But yeah, this isn't going to be something I'll probably drive online, because the R1T is slightly quicker at the end of the day to 100, and that doesn't make a difference when it comes to upgrading the car and the like. So yeah, but still, like I said, glad it's in the game. It does add more variety to the game at the end of the day. We don't have many electric SUVs, so yeah, more of these is fine by me as far as I'm concerned. So you can get this by doing an event lab race. It doesn't take very long at all, and yeah, at the end of the day it just puts a car in your garage that you haven't had, and you don't have to get 20 points or any more than that to get it. It's just a single race, and yeah, it's an easy enough one to complete. But yeah, nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye.